Picture this: a mother of two, standing in her Beverly Hills mansion. Staring at her phone, the notifications won't stop coming. Photo shoots, red carpet events, business meetings. But upstairs, her children are calling for mommy. And in the next room, her husband sits in silence, his patience wearing thin. This is the story of Paris Hilton, the woman who built an empire on being seen, now facing the impossible choice between the spotlight that made her famous, and the family that could save her soul. Music intensifies. The year was 2019. Paris Hilton had just called off her engagement to Chris Zilka. Another relationship, another failure. Another headline. At 38, she was tired of the game. I'm done. With boys, she told her friends, I need a man. Then she met Carter Reum, not at a club, not at a party, but at a quiet dinner with mutual friends. Carter wasn't like the others. He didn't want her fame. He already had his own success. A venture, capitalist, an entrepreneur, old money family. I'm so happy, she told Us Weekly in February 2020. This is the best time of my life right now. For the first time in decades, Paris felt seen. Not as a brand, not as a celebrity. As a woman, he loves me for me. She whispered to her sister Nikki, for what I represent. But what Paris didn't realize was that Carter fell in love with a version of her that might not exist anymore. The version that wanted to settle down. The version ready to step back from the chaos. The version that was willing to choose love over fame. After becoming engaged on February 13, 2021, Hilton and Reum were married in Los Angeles on November 11th. The wedding was everything Paris had dreamed of. A fairy tale ending to her wild child story. 3 lavish ceremonies. Designer gowns. Celebrity guests and Carter, looking at her like she hung the moon. This is it, Paris thought as she walked down the aisle. This is my happily ever after. But fairy tales don't prepare you for real life, and real life was about to get complicated. The cameras followed everything. Her new Peacock show, Paris in Love, documented their journey. But viewers noticed something the couple didn't single quotes TIT fans began pointing out. How overwrought tall Carter looked during filming. His smile seemed forced. His patience wearing thin. Some things not right, fans wrote on social media. He looks miserable. Paris dismissed the comments. She was used to criticism, but deep down, she felt it too. The tension, the disconnect. Carter had signed up to marry Paris Hilton, the woman. Not Paris Hilton, the brand. And the brand was everywhere. January 2023. Their son Phoenix was born via surrogate. Paris held her baby for the first time and felt something she'd never experienced before. Pure, unconditional love. I want to be the best mother, she told Carter through tears. I want to give him everything. Carter smiled. This was the Paris he fell in love with. The one who wanted a family more than fame. They welcomed their second child, daughter, London, that same year. 2 beautiful children. A loving husband, financial security. Paris had everything she'd ever wanted. So why did she feel so empty? The answer came in the quiet moments. When the children were sleeping. When Carter was working, she would scroll through her phone, looking at other celebrities' posts. Their red carpet moments. Their magazine covers. And she felt invisible. For someone who had spent 20 years being photographed. Being forgotten felt like dying. I miss being me, she confided to her mother. Kathy, I miss being ... important. Kathy's response was gentle but firm. You are important, Paris, to your children. To your husband. But it wasn't enough. The spotlight was calling her. Back 2024 brought new opportunities. Business ventures, brand partnerships. Reality show offers. Paris looked at Carter across the breakfast table. I got offered my own cooking show. Carter's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Paris, we have 2 toddlers. I know that. Do you? Because you've been on your phone more than you've been with them lately, the silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken truths. This is who I am, Carter. This is what I do. I thought you wanted to change. I thought I did too. That conversation marked the beginning of the end. Carter had married a woman who promised to put family first. But Paris was remembering who she was before him. The original influencer, the tabloid queen. The woman who turned being famous into an art form. And that woman wasn't ready to disappear. Recent reports suggest that Paris Hilton's marriage to Carter Reum is at the breaking point over her refusal to give up her search for the spotlight. Despite being mom to their 2 toddlers, sources close to the couple paint a picture of growing tension. Carter, 44, is reportedly furious over the heiress' plans to launch new projects. Instead of focusing on their young family, imagine the conversations behind closed doors. You're never here, Carter says, his voice tired. Phoenix asked where Mommy was yesterday. What was I supposed to tell him? That you were at a photo shoot. Paris's eyes flash with anger. That photo shoot pays for his future. For all of our futures, we don't need the money, Paris. We need you here. You knew who you were marrying, did I? Because the woman I married said she wanted this. She said she was ready to be a mother first. I am a mother. But I'm also Paris Hilton, and there it is. The fundamental problem. Carter fell in love with Paris the person, but Paris the brand refuses to stay quiet. The signs are everywhere. Now, separate social media posts. Him focusing on business. Her showcasing her glamorous life. Friends whisper about arguments. About nights spent in separate bedrooms. About Carter's growing resentment of the cameras that follow their every move. He thought it would stop, a family friend reveals. He thought marriage and kids would be enough for her. But Paris has been performing her entire life. She doesn't know how to stop. The children become pawns in their silent war. Paris posts perfect family photos. Carter rarely appears in them anymore. She throws elaborate birthday parties. He stands in the background checking his phone. The fairy tale is crumbling. And everyone can see it, except them. What happens when someone built for the spotlight tries to live in the shadows? What happens when love isn't enough to change who you fundamentally are? Paris stares at herself in her vanity mirror. The same mirror where she got ready for her wedding day. Her children's laughter echoes from downstairs. Carter is reading them bedtime stories. She should be there. She knows she should be there. But her phone buzzes with another offer. Another chance to be seen. Another opportunity to matter. The woman in the mirror looks tired. Behind the perfect makeup and styled hair, she looks lost. Who am I without the cameras? She whispers to her reflection. It's a question she's been running from her entire life. And now, it might cost her everything that actually matters. Carter sits in his home office looking at family photos on his desk, their wedding day. Phoenix's first smile. London's tiny fingers wrapped around his thumb. He thinks about the woman he proposed to. The one who cried when she talked about having babies. The one who promised she was ready for a different life. Was it all an act, or did she mean it in that moment? Maybe it doesn't matter anymore, because the Paris he fell in love with is disappearing, replaced by the brand that never learned how to rest. He picks up his phone, scrolls through her latest Instagram posts, glamour shots, red carpet events, business announcements, not a single photo of their children from this week. His thumb hovers over her contact name. What do you say to someone who's choosing fame over family? What do you say to someone who might not even realize they're making that choice? Reports suggest Paris Hilton's marriage to Carter Reum may be on the brink as she struggles to balance her desire for spotlight with her role as a mother and wife. The irony is heartbreaking. Paris Hilton, who built her empire on being seen, might lose the people who actually see her, not the brand, not the persona. Her, the real Paris, the one who wanted nothing more than to be loved for who she really is. But after decades of performance, does she even know who that is anymore? Friends worry about what comes next. She's at a crossroads. One insider shares she can have the spotlight or she can have her family. But she's starting to realize she can't have both. Carter has reportedly grown tired of competing with cameras for his wife's attention and the children. Innocent in all of this, are beginning to notice mommy's priorities. There's still time. Every marriage goes through rough patches. Every person struggles with identity and purpose, but this feels different. This feels like a fundamental incompatibility that was always there. Hidden beneath the romance and the fairy tale wedding, Carter married a woman ready to change. Paris married a man who accepted her as she was. Both were wrong. The question now is whether love is strong enough to bridge that gap. Whether Paris can find a way to be both mother and icon. Whether Carter can accept that the woman he married will always crave the spotlight. Whether their children will remember their parents as partners or as strangers living in the same house. In her quiet moments, Paris remembers what drew her to Carter. His stability, his groundedness, his ability to see past the headlines. But the headlines were her life long before they were noise. I don't know how to be invisible, she finally admits to her therapist. I've been performing since I was a teenager. When the cameras stop rolling, I feel like I disappear. It's the most honest thing she's said in months. The therapist leans forward. What if you didn't have to be invisible? What if you could be selectively visible? Present for the moments that matter. It sounds simple. It feels impossible, because for Paris Hilton, being seen isn't just a career. It's validation. It's proof she matters, and learning to find that validation at home, in the quiet moments with her family, might be the hardest thing she's ever done. Carter, meanwhile, struggles with his own revelation. He thought he could save her from herself. Thought his love would be enough to pull her away from the chaos. But you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. And maybe Paris doesn't need saving. Maybe she needs understanding. Maybe the problem isn't that she wants the spotlight. Maybe the problem is that he expected her to turn it off. I fell in love with a fantasy, he tells his brother. I fell in love with the idea of who she could become, not who she actually is. It's a painful realization, but it might be the key to saving their marriage. If he can love her as she is, spotlight and all, maybe they have a chance. If she can prioritize their family without disappearing completely, maybe they have a future. But it requires compromise from both of them. And compromise has never been easy for people used to getting their way. The children sleep peacefully upstairs, unaware that their parents' marriage hangs in the balance. Phoenix has his father's eyes, but his mother's smile. London has Paris's blonde hair, but Carter's stubborn chin. They are the best of both parents. The living proof that their love story, however complicated, created something beautiful. Maybe that's enough to fight for. Maybe two people who built their identities around very different things can find common ground in the tiny humans they created together. Maybe Paris can learn too. Be present without being invisible. Maybe Carter can learn to share his wife with the world without losing her completely. Maybe love really can conquer all, but only if they both decide. Their family is worth more than their individual needs. Only if Paris can remember that being a good mother is better than being a famous one. Only if Carter can accept that his wife will always be larger than life. The clock is ticking. The cameras are rolling. The world is watching, and somewhere in Beverly Hills, Two people who once promised forever are figuring out if they meant it. The story isn't over yet. Paris Hilton has reinvented herself many times, from party girl to businesswoman, from reality star to DJ, from wild child to wife and mother. Maybe this is just another reinvention, the most important one yet. The transformation from someone who needs to be seen to someone who chooses when. To be seen, Carter Reum built his career on seeing potential where others see problems. On investing in futures that haven't happened yet. Maybe it's time to invest in the future of his marriage. The spotlight will always be there. Fame is patient. It waits. But children grow up. Love fades if it's not nurtured. Marriages end when compromise becomes impossible. The choice is theirs. And the world is watching to see what they decide. Because this isn't just about one couple's marriage problems. It's about the cost of fame in the age of social media. It's about whether authentic love can survive in a performative world. It's about two people trying to figure out who they are together when they've spent so long being who they are apart. As we speak, Paris is probably getting ready for another appearance. Another opportunity to be seen. And Carter is probably wondering if this is the life he signed up for. Their children are growing up in the space. Between those two realities, the resolution isn't written yet. The final act hasn't been filmed. But one thing is certain. Something has to give. Either Paris learns to choose her family over her fame, or Carter learns to share his family with the world. Either they find a way to bridge their two worlds, or those worlds pull them apart. The fairy tale is ending. But maybe, just maybe, real life can be even better. If they're both brave enough to choose love over everything else. If they're both willing to compromise without losing themselves. If they can remember that the most important audience they'll ever have is sleeping upstairs. What do you think will happen? Can Paris Hilton save her marriage? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more celebrity stories that matter. The spotlight is unforgiving, but love, when it's real, can be stronger. We'll have to wait and see which one wins.